Down. And we are live. I love it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Why Am I Yelling Live? I'm Krista. I'm your host. And I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty excited about my guest for today. Meet the lovely Michelle Ferreri, not Ferrari, like she says to everybody when you meet her. Michelle, I've been following her a little bit longer than probably a year on social media and stuff. And I think she's hysterical and she's super fun and she puts up all kinds of great Facebook Lives and I love her. And I had the opportunity to meet her live and in person at a summit that we both went to in May in Florida. And I just think she's hysterical. So I was like, what? You need to totally come on my show. So she is a storyteller, content creator, social media consultant, and she does a super fun thing on Fridays called MF's Trans Canada Nissan Drive-By. And she interviews people in her Pathfinder on Fridays. Kind of like James Corden in the Carpool Karaoke, except I don't think they sing the whole time. So please welcome my guest, Michelle. We're so happy to have you. And we're excited to have you here. And oh, by the way, she's from Canada. And I have such a love affair with Canada right now because I love your prime minister.
I think you just need to end the sentence with, I have such a love affair with Canada right now and then everyone else can fill in the blanks there.
Well, I mean, it's obvious, right? I mean, don't you all just love him compared to our guy? Anyway, that's a whole other topic. Welcome.
A whole other vlog. Hi, thank you. Thank you, Krista, for having me.
Anytime. So excited to have you here. So this is how it works. It's my one question and then we go from there. So I want to know, because I'm always interested in talking to other people who have pretty much done what I did. You had a career before you started your own business and I had a career before I started mine. So I always want to know why you did it and what made you make the leap.
Haha. Wow. How long is the show?
However long you want it to be.
Okay, so I have one of those windy paths, as most people do. Mom of 3, so I guess that's always what I always start with. So I don't know if you follow Simon Sinek. He's one of my favorite guys out there, but he does, what's your why, right? What is your why? And I think as moms, our why is always our children. So I was working in television, loved my job, loved the people I worked with. But like most companies, they were squeezing more and more out of you and you were feeling less and less valued. You know, it was just like, it's one of my mandates now moving forward. It's like, you don't even have to monetarily thank people, just thank you.
Just thank you.
And I think a lot of companies, but it comes from the top down. It wasn't the people beside me. It wasn't the management beside me. It was from top down. And so things are getting sort of more and more tense in the workplace. People were more fearful. And, you know, it just became I stopped having fun and I'm a fun person. And I was also dealing with a kid who had severe anxiety and was struggling in the school system a lot at the time. We were doing major renovations and anybody who's done renovations knows that that is a test to your whole being. If you want to find out who you are, live through renovations when you have 3 small kids. So everything just kind of came to a head. And I'm a fixer, right? I'm like, if it's broke, let's fix it. And I'm miserable. Yeah. So I went to my boss and I said, I need a leave of absence. And I went to the boss and he said, okay. They gave it to me, no pay. So I left in May of 2013, something like that. I can't even remember now. It's all like a blur. Yeah. And I took the summer off with my kids. And everybody said to me, you'll never be able to leave TV. You will miss it like crazy. And you won't be able to do it. And it was the best summer ever. Like we had no money coming in. And I just, all that time that I felt so cut off from my kids and that quality time where I was getting home late and just not being the mom I wanted to be. We drove to New Brunswick that summer. We did all this great stuff. So for those of you who are in the United States are like, where is New Brunswick? It's like a 15-hour car ride. So it was great. So I took the summer off and then I got offered a job that summer. I ran into a guy that I'd known through my work through television, and he offered me a job as a business development coordinator for, it's like an airport, a company that manages airport and aviation and emergency services. And I was like, oh my gosh, Yes. Like I called him my knight in shining armor, because he kind of rescued me to make me feel, because I find when you get into a point with a job and you're there for so long, you have no idea if you're valuable or not, because you're another cog in the wheel. So you don't even know if your skill set is of any value, because they make you. So for somebody else to want me it was the ego boost I kind of needed. I wasn't really actively searching other positions. I wanted to go back to television, but they just didn't have it in the budget to make it worth my while. So long story short, I went and took this job, and it was the most I've learned. I was only there for 6 months, and I learned more about myself in that 6 months and what I didn't want, which brings you closer to what you do want.
Yep.
And I was miserable again. I was driving down the road every day to this job, and I was telling myself I was fortunate to have this job, that this is a great job, and you love it, Michelle. And I was just in an environment that didn't suit me. And I just always felt like I was a salmon or a fish that was in the wrong school of fish, It's like, and it's a very deflating feeling. So I then, it was a lot of thought, and my husband, everybody needs a partner that supports them financially, said, listen, you're miserable and you're not fun to live with. So why don't you fix that and do whatever it is you got to do, because I know you well enough to know you'll fix it. So I had been dabbling in blogging a bit at the time, and I saw this huge opportunity, and I knew even from working in television that social media was something to not take your eye off of. And it was funny because my TV people were like, we're in the business of TV, not internet. And I was like, well, you better be in both. Yeah. Right. So I was dabbling in it, and I had this girl behind me, and big shout out to Desiree Fawn, because she was the one that kind of said, Michelle, like, you got it. Like, let's do this. So that was it. And I jumped in and started February of 2015. And still have never even written a business plan. Still have never even done it, because my business just catapulted. It just went, yep. And I've been really, really fortunate, and I've never looked back. And it's like I said to somebody, somebody said to me one day, they said, you're doing great, and I said, I feel like really, really fortunate that I just simply found my groove.
Yeah.
I think we all in this world, that's what we're looking to do, is find what we're meant to do. And I just really love what I do. And I didn't know how much I was wired to be an entrepreneur until I was an entrepreneur. I do not obviously listen well to other people.
Right.
That's what I've really learned about myself.
And I think it's a good lesson though, because, we've all been there. Well, not all of us, but some of us have been there. And I had a very similar story. I was in a demanding job in corporate America, and started writing a blog simultaneously with that job, because I needed like a creative outlet and something to do.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you start learning things about yourself, especially as we get older, I think we get smarter. And you have, and when you have the ability to, and like you said, you have somebody who's supporting you on the back end who says, do this, and I support you, and I know everything's going to be okay, because I know that you are going to do your best to make it happen. And we have a family, and we have all this stuff, right? And so that is a really important thing to have. And I think the important lesson is take the time to make time for yourself and really figure out what you want to do. So many of us go through our lives just spinning wheels. And like you said, you're not happy, and you're driving down the road and you don't want to go to this job, and you're talking yourself into it.
Yeah.
And so many of us talk ourselves into our days every single day, that when we finally realize we don't actually have to do that, it's such a liberating feeling. And I wish, and I think that's probably why I do what I do and you do what you do, is because you want more people to understand that you can actually do that. And if you put a plan, I wouldn't say go out and like quit your job tomorrow. If you have, a bunch of mouths to feed and all that kind of stuff, like be smart about it. Like I saved a bunch of money and knew it was coming and made a plan, and you did the same thing. But there's always a way to figure it out. Or I don't know. I mean, and I feel like it's such a good lesson to our kids, right? They're watching us
yes.
do this.
Yeah, It's an incredible thing. And the biggest thing I find people are just, they're paralyzed by fear and they're paralyzed by the what if. And I get it. It's a crushing feeling and you do need support around you. But I really think we have this like inner spidey sense that we just kind of push to the side. You know what you're meant to do. You know what you're great at. You know what you're spending all your time with. And some people have that strength of combining the business and the passion. Some people don't know how to monetize it. And so that's when you go out and you sort of say, okay, I need somebody to help me do that. And you have to find the people around you to help you execute it. And like you said, you do have to take the leap, but misery is I always say it's like the best thing in the world because it pushes you. When you're in a corner, that's how you're reborn. That's how the phoenix gets up because you're like, well, I just can't live like this anymore. And when you can't be the mom you want to be, or I wrote a blog after I left to explain why I did what I did. And I called it Thermostat Mommy. And we are the thermostat. We are the thermostat for our home. And, if we are turned up way too high or we're way too cold, everybody suffers and it's a trickle down effect. And we really need to look at ourselves and do it. And I just feel like everybody's just too afraid to do it because money. And, but I also think we need to restructure our lives and say, really, are we living out of our means? Because I think way too many people do that as well. Oh,
absolutely.
Way too many.
Probably 90% of people do. And it really, and we've all been there, right? I've done it. And it wasn't until I quit my job and left my job and had to really think about, okay, where's every dollar going? Because for a long time there was none, right? It's like, okay, we have to move this around and this has to go there. And we have to be really smart. And nope, we can't have these things right now because there's no way to get it. Well, you fill your life with stuff because you have a big void in your life and you're trying to fill that with stuff. So, but meanwhile, if you filled your soul, I always say, do something that feeds your soul where you feel so satisfied. You don't need stuff. You don't need cars and boats and huge houses and all of these things. You need something that fuels your inner self. Yep. That's what you really need. Yep. And so I particularly enjoy having that conversation with my children because, the stuff. But I think that now, my oldest, he's 11. So you've been doing this longer than I have. He's watching and he sees I've got a couple of things going on. And he's like, wow, this is kind of really cool that you're not focusing on this stuff. So yesterday I bought him a pair of tennis sneakers. And one of my girlfriends, we were watching their basketball game. And I was saying, oh, I just bought Wyatt another pair of sneakers. I'm done with the sneakers. I've had it he goes through sneakers like it's unbelievable. And she's like, wait. And I'm like, but the great thing about him is that he doesn't care what I buy him. Doesn't care. He doesn't have to have the $200, Michael Jordans or the whatever. He doesn't care. And she was like, just wait. And I was like, I don't know that he ever will because it's not something that we
I think it depends, I think it's an interesting conversation to have. And I think boys and girls are really different when it comes to that. And I think you set the tone. Our children are merely reflections of ourselves. And I always laugh at the meme that says, I hate when I'm yelling at my kid for acting exactly like me. I mean, that's what they are. They're just reflections of yourself. So, I mean, my daughter right now, she's 13. She is phenomenal, but she is my clone. And we are like, right? And I have to step back and say, Michelle, this is a you problem, not a her problem. I'm starting to nitpick her. And I read the most remarkable article a couple weeks ago, and it was 7 things or something to ruin your relationship with your teenager. She's just 13, but she's a responsible 13-year-old. She's the oldest. And the number one was, and it was it said, stop telling them stop talking and start listening. You've had 13 years or 14 or 15 or 16 or however many years to clearly lay out your expectations of what you want from them. Yep. They know that. Okay. So stop nagging at them to clean their room. Stop nagging at them to do all of these things because I can hear myself. It's like an out of body experience. And you're like, oh my God, shut up. you know? So that was really powerful for me. And to let her, so to me, I'm like, why are you getting all worked up about that? It's not a big deal. Well, it's a big deal to her. And I think, you know, another show that really triggered a lot of that for me was 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
It was a very empowering series as well. Like where you were like, wow, like what's not a big deal to us? Like, remember being a teenager?
Of
like
course.
the sky is falling.
Big deal.
The sky is falling.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think it's just, and it's all age and stage, right? So when they're 2, it's the same problems, but relative to that age. And when they're 5, but I think going back to what you were saying, I think they're just reflections of us. So to take care of ourselves and to make us mentally healthy and to make us self-aware, we ultimately create self-aware children.
Yeah. I love that because I walk around and I look at people all day long and I'm like, what's going on here? What's happening? It needs to just be different.
I know.
So tell me about the Trans-Canada Nissan drive-by that you have going on, because I love it. I love watching it. I love it.
That's amazing. So James Corden,
who I love, by the way.
Totally. I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, this is the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. I think it was a Stevie Wonder one that I saw the first time. And, you know, most people, when they watch talk shows, they're drawn to the star or whomever's getting interviewed. I'm always drawn to the host, right? So that's my background. And so I was watching it and I was like, this is brilliant, because people really feel getting interviewed is very intimidating, right? So I just believe everyone has a story to share, but not everybody likes the camera. Okay. Let's be honest. Very few people are comfortable in front of the camera. It's pretty intimidating. But in the car, you have a beautiful, I don't know if your kids are the same, but my kids are the same, right? They just spill their guts in the car and at bedtime. Yeah. Because I feel like it's like a side, right? You're not like looking into someone's soul.
Yeah. Right.
So the car is this kind of safe place. It's also acoustically amazing from a production standpoint. And I'm just really, really fortunate to have, it's the best. And I am really, really fortunate to work with Trans-Canada Nissan. I just need to give them a huge shout out, because they were one of the, you know, the people that took a chance on me and let me tell community stories and let me tell stories that have their brand attached to it, and they sponsor me. And without them, I can't do what I do. Right. So it's beautiful, and my vehicle is beautiful. And basically, how do I pick people? I mean, the idea is that I drive a Pathfinder, and ironically, I always sort of put people in, and I didn't choose this at the time, but it organically happened. Everybody that I interview has usually found their path or on their path. And I think we all are, which is, you know, it's just kind of how everybody is. And so we try to give stories that are inspirational, motivational, or just empowering, or you're just like, well, that was amazing. You know, I've interviewed some pretty remarkable people, and I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, everybody has some story, and I love telling it. And that's my passion, right? To educate, entertain, inspire, motivate. Like, let's all understand each other better, so we have a more empathetic society, so we can all just friggin' get along. Can we just all do that? Can we all just get along?
Wouldn't it be so nice? Yes,
right?
It would be so nice. I love that, and I think it's so fun. And you need to come to America and do it here.
Okay.
Drive to New York.
I don't want to leave Canada, though.
Just like for a weekend.
Okay. Yeah. I love New York. Oh my gosh, we were in New York April. It's the best. I love it. I don't know if I could live there, but I love it. I live in a very tiny I'm a very small town girl. So I love that.
Yeah, it's either you either love it or you hate it when you live there, right?
I love it. But
I'm a lover. So we live there, but we have a weekend country house in Connecticut. So, and it's a super small town. So it's like we kind of get to do both, which is very, very nice. Yes. So we were very fortunate to have that. And I spend the summers up here. So my kids are like running around right now and I don't know where they are, which is fine by me. Like, see you later. Cause it lets me do this. And I love that because I get to do that. And I think the point of our whole conversation is finding your path with your Pathfinder and really, and making it happen and listening to other people's stories and the importance, like everybody, I believe that too. I started Why Am I Yelling I entered a contest that Oprah Winfrey was sponsoring like 7 or 8 years ago when she just left the Oprah Winfrey Show. And it was about having your own talk show. And the name of my talk show is called would have been, or now is, Why Am I Yelling? And it was really about passion and finding your passion and following it through. It's not about yelling at your kids or being mad, or it's kind of like a cheeky play on the word, right? We yell because we're excited about something. We are passionate about our new job or our business venture or whatever it is that we're doing. So I love it because there are a lot of people like you and me out there, and we have to find those people because their voices matter and their stories matter and their path matters. And I think so many people out there, they don't think that. And I don't know why. And I feel like when you talk about it, you're so passionate about talking about it, that it raises awareness and it educates and it empowers and it encourages other people to do it. So I love it. And I applaud you for doing it in your home country.
You too. Way up here in Canada. No, I think, you know what, I think to tie it all full circle and to go back to parenting, it starts with our children. And I think if we teach children from a young age that, you know, whether you fit a system or whether you're different or whatever you are, that's who you are. And you need to hold on tight to that and not let go of it. And I feel like we are in a change in society. And I think it's an exciting time because I think now, like social media, you get to be whoever you are. And giving our children those tools of confidence and self-awareness and empathy, I mean, we're going to have a whole lot better society if those kids have that. Then, you know, I think as adults, it's like we were in a generation, I was in the middle, I'm not as bad, but like, you know, I look at my parents, it was like children were seen, not heard. And so you have these society of mentally unhealthy, insecure adults who don't know or don't want to follow their passion because I'm supposed to do this and I'm supposed to go to this and I'm supposed to get married and I'm supposed to have kids and I'm supposed to have a job that pays this. And so they never questioned it. And now we have these, you know, millennials, and they get a bad rap. But I feel like millennials are really something unique because is it good enough? They have a crutch, like, you know, they don't get married, they don't hold a job because they're constantly saying, well, is this it? Like, is there anything better? And I think that creates a whole other slew of problems because, you know, you play that game and one day you're 70 and you're like, okay, well, I don't have anything because I've been worried about what's better than this. But it also fixes that, you know, problem of my dog. Look at this dog. Can you see him?
Oh my God, look at him.
You see this dog? Look at this. He has 3 legs.
Look how cute he is.
He is, how old is he? He's 7. He has 3 legs though.
He's got 3 legs. That's amazing.
Yeah. I know. Welcome to Canada. We love everybody here. We'll take you however you are.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we just all need to be, you know, really parenting is everything. And whether you're a parent or you're a teacher or you're influential in children's lives, that's what's determining our world. So take it seriously. It's a really important role. And so be happy in your job, because if you're not, your children are watching.
They are watching, and they're watching when we least know that they are. And I have this conversation with my clients all the time, and I'm actually doing an event on Saturday about it, but it's really important. And communication and encouraging and talking to and allowing them, like you said, allowing them to be heard. Mm-hmm. Because you're right. I mean, I grew up in that children were meant to be seen and not heard generation. It was go upstairs. The kids are not invited to dinner with the old people, with the adults. You've texted the kids table, right? Yeah. Like there was the kids table and the adults table. And for a while that's fun, but as you get older, you realize, how come we're not all sitting at the same table? Like, I don't get that. Yeah. So, being conscious to make the decisions to change that or break that stigma has been important, I think, for the children of those parents, me, you as part of it, probably on the much younger end, because but I think I think it's important. And I think that, sharing our lives with our kids is just as important as sharing our lives with our partners. And they watch what we do with their with their dads or their moms or their whoever it is that we're co-parenting with. And if we're not we don't have a solid conversation going, then how are they going to ever have a solid conversation going with us and with their people and how they're cultivating relationships? And I'm always so interested to know how other parents do it and talk about it and encourage it. And I think continuing that message is really, really important.
I agree.
I love it. I love it. I love this conversation. So tell us where we can find you. Jackie, my assistant, is on, and she is going to pop all of Michelle's information in the comments, but you guys totally follow her on all of the places, and watch her shows because she's hysterical. I just love it. I mean, like, I literally remember walking around the Ritz-Carlton and like, there you were, everybody snapping selfies and taking pictures and documenting everything. And I think that's amazing. And so follow her because her stories are great and she's awesome.
So are you. Back at you. We're all awesome.
Everyone's awesome.
Everyone.
Yeah. So where can we find you?
My blog is michelleferreri.com. So that's Michelle with 2 L's, MichellFerreri.com. And my Instagram and my Twitter have a terrible name, but it's okay. MF2, the number 2, Sense, SENSE. Yeah, it's way too complicated to explain. But MF.
Story behind that. Okay.
Well, I do rants every Monday. I do a lot of rants, and they're called my 2 cents. So that's what that is. So 2 cents instead of like the cents, the number. I take cents. And I'm so clever.
So clever.
Oh my gosh, so clever. Nobody even knows. That's just above people's pay grade, though. It doesn't work.
You're too smart for people.
I don't think that. And then I have my Facebook is Michelle Ferreri too. So most of my vlogging didn't build my YouTube community. I'd like to in the next year, but if you want to subscribe to me on YouTube, that'd be great because I'm going to build it. But it's Michelle Ferreri on YouTube too. But most of my vlogs are on my blog and my Facebook.
Cool. I will put this on my YouTube, and you can put it on yours because I save all of these things on my YouTube channel. Okay,
that's
awesome.
Cool.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being our guest, and we hope to see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your summer. When do you guys go back to school?
I will. We go back the first week of September. So we have a Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Do you guys have Labor Day there?
Yep. We have Labor Day and we go back on the 7th or something like that.
Same as us. In September?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same as us. Yeah. That's us too.
Awesome.
Yeah. School.
5 more weeks. Woo.
I know. I love summer. Never mind. I wish my kids never went back to school. No lunches. Get up whenever you want. I don't care. Where are you? I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
My favorite.
I love it.
Me too. It really, it hurts to have to go back. It's like, right? I have to mentally prepare everybody. It takes about a week to get that done.
I hear you.
Okay. We're going to let everybody go. We'll talk to you guys next week. You stay right there and I'm going to end this. So hang on. Bye everybody.